Hello, everyone. Happy Friday. Welcome to Cardano Live. We have Joss, CEO and co-founder of Revuto, with us today to tell us about Revuto and how it works. And first, it'll be a little bit from her background. We'll talk about the team, and then we'll talk about the tech. Sound good, Joss?
Sounds good.
All right. Thank you for being here today. I very much appreciate you coming on Cardano Live. How are you doing today?
Pretty good. Thanks for inviting me. Very happy to be here.
All right. So let's tell us a little bit about yourself and the team. How did you come together? A little bit of the history.
Absolutely. So essentially, the Revuto team is consisted of several serial entrepreneurs back from Croatia, from Zagreb, Croatia. So we all know each other for a couple of years now. We've mostly started our businesses in Zagreb, but we actually met in Silicon Valley. So me and my co-founder, Vedran is the one who actually came up with the idea. We met on CES in Las Vegas when we were working on our previous companies. And he met our CTO, Marco, there, who was the head of AI and machine learning at Intuit, a really big fintech company. So that's kind of how we all met as startup veterans. And then somewhat of a year and a half ago, we actually started to go into development and decided that we have to do this. Although we have our previous businesses, this is too big of an opportunity, and this is too much of an important thing not to start working on it.
Yeah, that's fantastic. That's good news to hear. It looks like you have an all-star team. I want to remind the viewers there are links down below in the description to Revuto's Twitter, social media, LinkedIn, and the YouTube channel for Revuto, as well as the website crypto.revuto. And so you can check out the website, get more information about the team down below. You'll see they have an all-star team. They have all-star partnerships. Great work, Joss, on getting this team put together. Very proud of you. Nice work. So a little bit. So there's the history at the beginning of your team. A little bit more about your team. What would you like to tell us about your team?
Absolutely. So kind of the core members of the team, on one side, we have us experienced entrepreneurs. Secondly, we have people who are kind of seasoned professionals from banking and fintechs. So people who used to work at really big bank and fintech organizations, starting from our CTO all the way to our product manager and several of our advisors. And then we have the crypto element, including people from IOHK, but also people who build stuff in the crypto space in general, everything from decentralized exchanges all the way to smaller crypto apps. So we all kind of assembled around the idea of revolutionizing the subscription economy. And those are kind of the three main parts of the Revuto team.
Okay, I'm glad you're working on the subscription economy because I myself am a subscriber to many things, Netflix, StreamYard, and some of the audio service providers out there. So I'm very curious to learn more about Revuto's subscription solution and the DeFi opportunities that your team is creating. Can you tell us a little bit more about Revuto? What is Revuto, and what are you planning to deliver to Cardano here?
Absolutely. So Revuto is what we call an active subscription management solution. Essentially, what we enable you to do is decide every month what do you want to use by blocking, snoozing, or approving on every single one of your subscriptions. So what's happening today, you are a perfect example of a creative or what we would call kind of a solopreneur. And what happens there is that you're using several SaaS and subscription services, but you use them on a very project-based or high seasonality way. And what's happening as a result is that you tend to use those apps very intensely when you're working, but there are kind of valleys in your usage where you don't even log in. And the problem there is, how do you get to decide what apps do you want to use this month and where do you want to take a break, either because you're traveling, you're taking a vacation, or simply you don't need all the services all the time. So what's happening then is we decided that what we require is what we call an active management approach, where you have a single virtual card per every subscription. And there's a way to top up every virtual debit card when you need it. So what happens if you approve it, what you do is we top up right in time the exact amount that the service provider is requiring, and then you simply approve and enjoy the service. If you click block, what we do is we don't top up the card, and what the service provider sees is actually a empty virtual debit card, a fully certified MasterCard, but it's empty. So what happens is that you simply get suspended of the service. You don't get punished, there's no penalty, but you don't get to use the subscription that month.
Wow, you guys are deep in this. I'm getting goosebumps from this, okay? Because I am also a MasterCard user for some of the services that I purchase. I'll use the MasterCard for that purpose. And so you are using Cardano, smart contracts, DeFi, MasterCard, all that for someone to manage their subscription services and pay for them, block them, or snooze them. I take it. So there's times where I might go a couple weeks without using a particular service. Actually, if I pay month to month. So if I go a couple months without using a particular service, I can hit the snooze button and it just holds off on paying for that particular service. Is that how it works?
The way snoozing works is we utilize what's called a grace period. And what a grace period is, for example, if you stopped paying your G Suite today, you won't get suspended right away. There's a certain grace period depending on how you're profiled as a user, where your location is, what's your history. And what we're doing with snoozing is we're helping you to navigate that grace period. It may not be as relevant for some of the demographics such as you and me, but for some of our core target markets, for example, Gen Z for streaming and gaming, and solopreneurs that are tight on a budget, so they're managing cash flow, using these grace periods right in time actually makes a ton of sense. Because if you're a entrepreneur that uses a ton of subscription services, and for example, Shopify, what happens is that the moment you sell your goods, you don't see the cash right away in your account. So getting that extra couple of days may really make it or break it for your business. And that's why managing those grace periods is very useful for managing cash flow for a lot of our target customers.
Wow, you have seem to have identified a huge market. You found a problem that needs to be solved, subscription management and payments, and you're developing a solution to that. All right. So a couple of common questions, but first, the most important one, why Cardano? Why not Ethereum? Why not some other smart contract platform? Why Cardano?
So the first question, why Cardano, is, when we started to go into our exploration phase of what we wanted to do, essentially our vision was you should be able to pay with crypto for a lot of these subscription services, because as we call it, the subscription economy is making these subscriptions everywhere around us. It used to be only for digital content, but we just heard the statement from the CEO of Airbnb, who's saying you'll be paying your rent not only when you go on vacation, but you'll be paying your rent through a platform such as Airbnb, and everything will be, on a subscription. And because of that, we say, wow, you should be able to use crypto to pay for your subscriptions, but there wasn't any solution similar to that. So then we decided to go into our exploratory phase, and what we discovered is if we were to use Ethereum, the gas fees would not make sense because a lot of these transactions are quite small. It can go $5, $10, $20, and it doesn't make sense if you have so many of these transactions. So Cardano turned out to be a perfect platform to have cost and time efficient transactions, but also Cardano's approach towards security and future proofing the blockchain also makes a lot of sense, because dealing with other people's money is always a very sensitive topic. So we don't want to have any problems, not only now, but also down the line. So because of those factors, Cardano turned out to be a very interesting option. But I think what definitely made us use Cardano was the community. Cardano has a very specific, very supportive community, and we wanted to really make this community a part of the journey. And that's why we decided to go with Cardano.
Well, that was a good call, because not only is the community huge, but Cardano is going for #1. So Revuto is going for #1. You jump on the train, going for #1. We're all going for #1 all day, every day, relentless. All right. I want to remind viewers, feel free to ask questions in the chat. We'll get to your questions in a little while. But in the meantime, let's touch on a few more things. You have a token called Rivuto, Revu. People can find more about that in the description down below. Check out the links down below while you're down there. Smash that like button, smash the subscribe button, and also check out Revuto's social media links down below as well for those who've joined recently. So to roll back into what we were discussing, you have a token called Revu, Revu. And how does that work? How do I get it? People most often ask me, how do I get it? But tell me, how does it work? And then how do we get a hold of it?
Yes, so essentially the vision of Revu is you should be able to pay with crypto. So that's why we developed our native token called Revu. And the main purpose is, of course, to pay subscriptions with crypto, but also to access micro lending and micro borrowing through the DeFi options that we have. Currently, we've just closed 2 weeks ago our token sale, which was very successful, luckily, and turned out to be extremely popular. One of the reasons is we were also the first native token to go live on Cardano, and then also we really had a strong use case and a strong product, which all kind of blended in a perfect storm. So the aim of Revu is really to allow you to be able to the grand vision is stake Revu and forget about subscriptions for life. So we're currently on that road to make it happen. The people who there's a couple options to get Revu. The first one was through our token sale, which has now closed. Actually, all of the tiers were sold out literally in minutes, which was shocking, exciting, but also stressful for us and the team. The second option is through our referral program. And then the third one is when we go live with our listings, which will be happening in September this year.
All right, nice. Sounds like you thought through the tokenomics quite well. Is Revu, Revu, you pronounce it Revu? And is that Revu. Revu? And is it a stable coin? Is it going to gain in value? Does it have the ability? How's that going to work?
So the nominal value is 10 euro cents, but we do have a stable coin called Euro R, the same way as you have USDT. So we have euros for Revuto. The purpose of our stable coin is just to enable the fact that you'll have to pay for subscriptions that stay the same in value, while we expect Revu to appreciate in value for several reasons. One is the buying pressure that we create from people who are actually using it to pay for subscriptions on a much better pricing option. But then also, secondly, we have a very ambitious roadmap. So the kind of the easiest stat that tells that is really that we have 2.1 million signups in less than a month with a very modest marketing budget. And this is all through a cleansed newsletter process or a sign-up process. And we also have a very strict KYC policy. And despite that, we're currently at 2.1 million. So if everything goes as it's going today and as we are planning it internally, the price of Revu will jump significantly as soon as we go live with the listings and as soon as we move forward through our roadmap, which is described in the white paper.
Okay, thank you. And so the 2.1 million, that's individual people who signed up?
Individual people who signed up, yes, correct.
Wow, that is a lot of people. You must have some marketing team to get that kind of reach.
Actually, it was all done through our referral program. So a lot of the people who didn't have a chance to participate in the token sale, but really want to get their hands on Revu, they used our referral program. So we have to say the referral program requires you to go, not only you, but also everyone you referred through the KYC process. We are building a very ambitious fintech roadmap. So KYC is a mandatory requirement, and if not most, then all of the regulations all the legislation that we want to be present in. So we do have a KYC process, and despite that, we're currently at 2.1 million. So that's quite a statement from the market, and we just got started. So it's just been live for a month and a few days.
Yeah, that's great news because it sounds like you are being regulatory compliant, which is important. On my show, I have folks come on. Sunday Swap was on earlier this week and tell us about where their team is at and how they're doing with that. And it sounds like, so you have a business that is registered. Is the business registered in Croatia or where at? Which country?
So we have a Croatian entity and we have an Estonian entity.
Okay. All right. And because there's a few questions, sometimes Americans, especially like myself, I got to be a little skittish when I start playing with tokens because sometimes they get declared a security later on and they lose value, or it's hard for Americans to get a hold of them. And we have a question from Bird JP in the chat. Thank you, Bird JP. And Bird asks, will Revu be available in the US? Would love to join, but currently can't.
So we're working on questions like these. We don't have, when we have any relevant updates, we'll be sharing it through our social media channels and our Telegram community group. So if you want to keep posted on those questions, we would kindly invite you to join there. We'll update you as soon as we have more concrete and precise information. But for now on, we're staying quiet. And yeah, that's the answer.
That's fair enough. Sometimes you can't answer the question's entirety. So thank you for the information. Thank you for what you've provided so far. And so I guess as developments come out, you'll be posting announcements when it's available for people in the US to purchase. And it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see these tokens getting listed on, Coinbase, Kraken, Binance, all those places. That's interesting. Are you working on getting it listed on a exchange?
We're working on getting listed. So that's currently in the pipeline. We already have some announcements, but we'll be having them more throughout the summer. September will be a big month for us for a range of reasons, but listing is definitely the primary reason. We'll be also keeping our community updated on some of the global partnerships that we have in the pipeline, which will directly and indirectly hint to a lot of the questions in terms of global availability of both our services and our tokens. So it's going to be a very busy summer. It's been a busy year, but we'll keep the community updated in due time when we have more official announcements.
Yeah, you are a very busy CEO because it seems like you have irons in the fire all over the place with many different partnerships. Well done for that. And thank you, Bird JP, for the question. And Bird also has a follow-up question. I think he and I are on the same wavelength here. He said, do you think Revu could be used as an asset in liquidity pools in the future? So what are your plans for liquidity pools? I saw some information on your website. What do you got?
Yeah, essentially liquidity pools are very important. Again, we'll be updating you with more information shortly. We don't have anything official for our plans and roadmap. What we can ask you is to go to our website and read the white paper. But again, we'll be having some exciting partnerships probably after September in this case in terms of the liquidity pools. But because our big vision is really stake Revu and enjoy subscriptions for life, we'll be having some really interesting updates on that front.
Okay, thank you for that. And I understand it's still early. The smart contracts are not yet on mainnet.
Exactly.
And I'm assuming your developers are working on the Alonzo Blue testnet, building out their code base. Is that correct?
Correct. We also have one of our partners in the one of our close partners in the Pioneers program. So we're having really tight ties with IOHK and the entire Cardano ecosystem. Our roadmap is perfectly aligned with Cardano's roadmap, especially for the Alonzo hard fork. But there's still a lot of things. We're trying not to give very precise deadlines, because what happens is if any element in the process gets slightly delayed, it's like a domino effect for us. So that's where we're trying to stay away from any kind of forward speaking deadlines. We'll be updating the community as soon as we have some more precise info. But yes, we're working with our partners that are in the Pioneers program and also working tightly with the people that actually are developing smart contracts to make sure that we're on time and perfectly synced with their roadmap.
Wow, Jos, you're providing a lot of information in a very short period of time. Are you okay with, I get a few more of the viewers' questions here because
Sure.
People seem to be very interested in the information you're providing. Zane asks what's the name of the company registered in Croatia?
So it's Revuto savjetovanje, in case it matters for the people who are in Croatia. So it's an entity registered in Croatia. Yes, it's Revuto savjetovanje d.o.o. Correct. Yes, Zane. Yeah, that's correct.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you,
Zane
Zane,
knows.
for looking that up. Zane looked it up. Thank you, Zane. And thank you, Just. Appreciate it. And Chad had a question. Which subscriptions will you be supporting as you go to launch? And how easily will you be able to add additional subscriptions to your services?
So that's an excellent question. You'll be adding your subscriptions manually. We have a database of around 200 subscriptions that are kind of in our master database, which we kind of have a shortened onboarding process. But because there's such a long tail of locally available subscriptions, and because they're popping up literally, dozens every day, what we have is an option for you to add any subscription manually, and you can also change whether the billing is monthly or annually. There's really a range of options that are popping up in the subscription space. So all of the big ones, we've tried to make sure that the onboarding process is really as short as possible. That means we're trying to aim it as under 60 seconds for kind of adding and making sure that you've checked all the info, but we'll be also supporting a complete long tail of subscriptions that you can manually insert. And the typical reason for this is both the pricing and the availability information change a lot with the localization. So even if you're targeting the EU alone, there are some services that are not available in the EU completely, even some of the big ones. So for example, in countries like Croatia, services like Apple Music are not available at the same time when they're available, let's say in Germany or in France. So these types of localizations have to be addressed in the app. So that's why you'll be able to shortly add some of the more popular features in a really fast and just a couple of clicks type of way. But you'll be also able to customize to any subscription, whatever it is, because there's really kind of a range of services that are popping up with a subscription-based model.
Wow, thank you for that. I hope you answered Chad's question there, Chad. That was more information than I was even expecting. Thank you, Just, for that. And thank you, Chad, for the question. And I think that's all we got for now. We do have a nice comment from C-Sipes 1983, which says, good white paper. It's much easier to read than the traditional white paper. Thank you, C-Sipes, for those kind words. Much appreciated on a Friday afternoon. All right. So, Jos, you have covered a massive amount of information in a short period of time. Is there anything else you wanted to go over about the team or the token or the tech, how it works? Anything else?
I think of the most interesting milestones that we have to add is later this month, we'll be launching our app with some limited functionality. So the first thing that you'll be able to see in our Revuto app is, first of all, your balance of Revu tokens and also some of the capabilities. But then throughout the summer and especially towards the end of the year, we'll be adding all sorts of features. One of them will be issuing virtual debit cards per subscription. So you'll be able to actually access the block, snooze, and approve. And also you'll be able to access micro-lending and borrowing towards the end of the year. So we have a very, very packed roadmap. It's starting with later this month. And apart from announcing several global partnerships, some which will be very connected to addressing virtual debit cards and some globalization opportunities that we have, obviously September will be a major month because of the listing. So we'll be having a lot of activities targeted just before and just after the listing happens.
Okay, thank you for that. And that was almost going to be our last words here, but you got me thinking even more, and I appreciate that. And with the stable coin, is there going to be a limited number of those, or have you worked out the tokenomics yet to where you can inflate the supply as the demand for the stable coin increases? Because myself, as a subscription user, I have a lot of subscriptions. I have to keep a spreadsheet of subscriptions and when I pay them and how much I owe on each one of them. Will there be an expanding supply of the stable coins to expand and contract? How's that going to work?
So essentially for the stable coins, there are two options when you're doing a stable coin. One is kind of doing the arithmetic version, and the second one is if you do it as a debt or as a collateral on something. Essentially what we'll be using is your Revu balance as a collateral, based on which you'll be able to get Euro R as a stable coin to pay your subscriptions. So essentially we'll be using the Revu supply as a sort of a collateral for issuing the stable coins. And obviously this requires not only talking to the regulators, but also obtaining certain approvals for them in order to do that. So you can't just print stable coins based on nothing. There needs to be a collateral based on how you issue the stable coins. And in our case, it will be the Revo that you have and that you're holding.
Ah, okay. I get it. Kind of like Ergo. If you see how Ergo has the Sigma USD and the Age USD, and I don't understand entirely how it works, but basically you short and long over there on the Sigma USD side, and the people gambling and playing the market on that side help stabilize the stable coin, which is kind of interesting, and it's handled by smart contracts. So I take it. So last two questions and we'll call it a day. Sound good?
Sounds good.
Okay. Are there smart contracts planned for example, stabilizing the stable coin and taking care of the payments? Are there going to be smart contracts used for that?
So the current smart contract roadmap is mostly based on providing liquidity. So micro lending, borrowing, staking. So it's all geared towards that. As soon as we start delivering on that roadmap, we'll be having more information and updates to our community on what are our future plans. But in the short run, and especially because of the current deadlines and because we have to be super aware of the fact that we have to make it kind of just in time, most of the smart contracts roadmap is based towards that.
Okay, thank you. And last one for the day. We'll call it a day. It's Good Friday, so let's have a good Friday afternoon, Friday evening, wherever you're at in the world. There was one from Enoch Sosh. Is there a stake pool in the future? Are you guys going to be using a stake pool to fund development or to drive the token process and the smart contracts?
We'll be having more updates in the future. Unfortunately, I can't tell everything because we have to make sure that we don't say something now and then potentially either delay with delivery or have any problems in the future. But what I can say is we would invite everyone who is interested in the roadmap to follow our official social media channels, and we will be starting with having our official kind of monthly updates on giving you, as we will be calling it, Revuto 360, kind of similar to the Cardano 360. We'll be giving an update on what's happening with the product, with the community, with marketing, with the regulators, with our token, with listing. So we'll be giving a lot of fresh updates as early as later this month. So there'll be more information around our kind of plans with stake pools there.
Wow, Joss, you're an amazing CEO, and I appreciate you coming on Cardano Live. If you want to come on in the future and do some updates, I do got the link to your YouTube channel down below. So you'll be doing 360 style updates. Let me know when that comes along, and we'll do our best to help get your channel out there to all the viewers of Cardano Live. All right, so let's call it a day. How's it sound?
Sounds good.
Sounds good. All right, I would like to thank all the viewers of Cardano Live out there for watching the podcast. I would like to thank Joss for coming on Cardano Live. Very much appreciate my guests who come on. Thank you very much for that as well. Please hit like and subscribe down below. Share the video with friends and family, and even share the video with people that you don't like. And the key is share the video, help us get those metrics up, get the stats up. Thank you all for viewing Cardano Live. And again, thank you as well, Joss. Everyone, y'all have a great day. Take care. Bye-bye. Happy Friday.